Mohammed Al-Duwaish is the CEO of Aliyah Global Group. Mohammed graduated from Leeds University Business School in 2002 with an accounting and finance joint honours degree. He started his career at the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development as part of the Asian Projects funding team. He followed this by joining Global Investment House as investment manager, forming and managing real estate funds around the world. In 2008, he became CEO of a single-family office, Aliyah Global, where his responsibilities include investment in real estate and private equity, investment advisory, commodities trading, and business development. Mohammed has earned his experience by working in diversified projects and dealing with high net worth individuals around the world. In 2017, he won Man of the Year award from Business Worldwide publication. The title was awarded to Mohammed due to his success at global mediation work and bringing countries together through business. Mohammed Al-Duwaish, welcome to the Life Lab and thank you for being here today.
No, thank you for receiving me.
It's great to have you here. I wanted to start with, we've done a bit of an intro at the beginning for the listeners, but just to tell us a bit about Aliyah Group and how it came about.
Sure. Aliyah Global Group is a single family office. We're based out of Kuwait and we operate globally. We've been in the business for the last 25 years. We have different line of businesses. We do investment for our own capital into direct real estate and direct private equity. We do physical commodity trading. And the third line of business, which you are aware of, is hosting family office event globally.
Mm-hmm. There's a big circuit, right, for your family office event. It's all over the world now.
Yeah. How it started, I featured as a speaker many conferences since 2011. And I realized the quality of the event become so commercial. You go to a family office event, you don't find any family office member, mostly advisors or consultant. You go to an investment firm, you don't find any capital source. So I decided to host my first event in Dubai to see how it goes in 2016, and it was really successful. And for me, the measurement of success for the event, that the family I invited, they stay the full 2 days. That means they really enjoy the caliber of the attendees, the content, the environment, the vibe. Then we took things seriously, and we host our second event in 2017. Then we expand to Asia Pacific, Latam, Africa, Europe, and now we cover the whole globe. And we have a team of 12 people working mainly for the family office events.
For the conferences. Yeah. So it's in Dubai, it's in Singapore, in South Africa, in Cape Town.
Yep. In Mexico.
Miami
for the US. And for Europe, we changed the city. The first one we did in London, last year in Lake Como. This year it will be in Austria.
Wow. And what made you kind of decide to bring it global, like to bring it outside of the region? Because it's still, even in the other regions, it's branded as the Middle East Family Office event, right?
No. We do it we keep the DNA of the event. So for instance, the upcoming one, it's Cape Town for the Africa Family Office. So it's only African family who are attending. 95% African families. If we do it in Latam, to be the same thing, 95% from Latam. Otherwise, we'll lose the DNA of the event.
But there's a bit of crossover, right? I've seen there's some of the big families go to the other.
And that's 10 to 15% of the.
So they like to kind of, and it builds a community then, I guess.
Definitely. Yeah. It's the same thing for us. Besides it's a business generating, business income generating, we do it because we network with other families, and we have created a lot of opportunities by meeting families there, exchanging ideas, experiences, and making new friends.
It's grown very fast since the first one. Because they were regional in the Middle East, and now they're just cropping up, in so many cities across the world. What inspired you initially to get involved in your family business? Because you had a strong career before you joined the family business.
Yeah, after graduation, I joined Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development for almost 2 years. Then I resigned. I joined Global Investment House, running the real estate business with my boss. It was a leading investment bank at that time.
In Kuwait?
Yeah, in Kuwait, and that they have offices in 18 countries globally. Thanks God I resigned before the market crunch, because then The bank went bankruptcy, and now it's got merged with another investment bank in Kuwait. I was at that time in 2008. I was without job, just traveling in Latin America, and yeah, then the position of CEO was vacant at Alia Global Group, and yeah, my father just called me up, and I joined.
And
So it was by accident; it wasn't planned.
it wasn't planned.
No.
It wasn't planned. And was it challenging to go from sort of, going into to make your own mark and be your own
Yeah,
leader?
from being an employee to be at the boss. Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, at the
I
time.
mean, before, my responsibility was limited because if something goes wrong, my boss is going to be blamed because he's the one supervising me. But now no one supervises me. So if there is one to be blamed, it's me.
It's and you have all your stakeholders
But
in the
thanks
family.
God, I proved to my family that I am capable to do it because I managed the Alia during the market crunch, during the COVID. So that's enough.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And Aaliyah has a kind of really proactive ethos and value that, it's about creating opportunities as a family office. How do you drive that as a value?
Okay, for me, I'm not the type of guys who sit behind the desk and waiting for things to be
Happen.
received by email or people visiting me in Kuwait. I spend half my time, we can say half of the year, traveling all over the world, trying to study new market, new opportunities, meet other family to learn what's happening in the market. And by then, we do our new investment. So let me give you an example. About how we function. Since 2008, I become the CEO of the group. We work remotely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So even with the COVID hit, there's nothing changed from our end because I believe, we don't have to go and spend time commuting to the office and being back, and our type of work require from us to work in different time zone. We have business in Asia, we have business in the Middle East, Europe, Latin America. So we have to make calls in early morning, late evening. So that's not, I don't think that would be fair for my team to work, longer hours, and they have to be presenting in the office. So I make them, give them the flexibility to work according to their schedule, but at the same time they will be available when there is a need for it. So when you talk about opportunities, yeah, whenever we see there is an opportunity in a market, let me give you an example. Mexico now is booming, and the agriculture business, it's a top topic in all over the world, especially after the COVID. So what we are doing, we are not just waiting here, waiting in my office in Kuwait and receiving emails from people there with some opportunity. No, we go there, we meet, we see things on the ground, and then we evaluate and we do the investment if it's something appealing to us.
And Mexico.
Yeah, I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. And so you've got, operations or, investments and opportunities all over the world. How does your Kuwaiti heritage, how is that part of your leadership style?
Okay, for me, whenever I travel, I feel I am ambassador to my family first, then my country. Okay, so that reflect on all my business norms when I communicate with people, and that give it to me more responsibility. So, having the family name and being a Kuwaiti national, that give me more responsibility to succeed and also to present it in a good way.
And do you feel that, when you're kind of doing business in other parts of the world that, you would have started probably doing that way before a lot of Middle Eastern family offices or businesses were doing that. I'm talking, since 2008, that was kind of the nascent stages, right, of a lot of Middle Eastern countries kind of looking to kind of for global opportunities and connecting that way. Was that unusual at the time?
Yeah, for sure. For me, let me give you an example. To go in 2008 and to do investment in Brazil, that was unusual for a lot of families, especially at that time. There was even no direct flight from the Gulf region to there. We have to fly through Europe to get there. People there before the World Cup and the Olympics in Brazil, very rare who can speak English. So even the language barrier is something that you have to consider. So yeah, at that time it was something very strange for a family. But there is always a first time, and then things are accepted.
Yeah, and now it's
Yeah,
growing and
it's
growing,
growing.
right?
I mean, like now in March, I think Emirates will start to have a direct flight from Dubai to Bogota in Colombia. Yeah,
Really, I didn't know that.
yeah. So
Yeah, that's
things are
interesting. Developing a lot. Yeah, and Colombia is obviously there's lots happening
a lot of
there.
things
Yeah.
happening. Yeah.
What do you feel? So, you're a successful family office and you've built up this
How do you
network.
measure successful?
Well, this is what I want to ask you. How do you measure success? I'm sure it's changed over the
I
years,
mean,
but
successful. I mean, success is different from a person to another. I
yes.
mean, for some people, it's more about the achievements. Some people about the wealth they have. Some people about the heritage they have. So for me, it's totally different concepts. Success is more about satisfaction. If you are satisfied with what you have, with what you have gained, then that's success.
But I mean, you obviously have family office stakeholders that they want to see the performance and get their, see that the results are coming through.
It's different because we are not an investment bank. So I don't have a target to reach at the end of each calendar year from amount of new investment or amount of return. As long as like there is no losses, or I try to minimize the losses. Let's reward it that way because we are human at the end of the day. They are fine. I mean, they are fine. As I just mentioned to you earlier, I passed through the market recession in 2008, 2009, and the COVID. So
Yeah.
I think they are happy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would fire me.
No, I don't think that's And I mean, given your experience in, leading the family office and the group, and then your career before that, there's a lot of aspiring and new investors, especially these days with all of the apps, since fintech has kind of revolutionized the retail investor landscape and just people becoming more aware of, opportunities that they could take advantage of. Do you have any advice for aspiring or new investors?
For me, I mean, let me just share what we do. I mean, what I do as Mohammed. I only do take a decision for investment if it's something that I know, I understand, and I'm comfortable with. I will never invest into something that I don't know. I have no knowledge about it.
Yeah.
So that's something very important because if something goes wrong later, you would understand the reason behind it. If it's something that you don't understand, like for me, you were just mentioning about apps and so on. For me, it's like Chinese. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I use it, but if I go into details, it's not my things. So I would never. I mean, as of this moment, I will never invest into that. But in the future, maybe.
That's good advice. That's good advice. And I think that, especially kind of after COVID, there was a bit of a frenzy of people kind of doing things. And obviously a lot of people lost a lot of money then because they were...
You know what's... I mean, I think most of the people now, they try to follow the trend. And when it comes to investment, there is no trend. There is opportunities, totally different things. It's not fashion.
Yeah, it's not fashion. Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah, I know it's simple, but it's really true. And I wanted to ask you a bit about going back to kind of when you started your journey as a CEO and being the boss. You obviously overcame, you must have faced a lot of challenges then at the beginning, maybe. What were some of the challenges that you faced, like becoming a CEO and the leader of the group and then building it up? And how did you overcome them?
Having a good manpower, to have a good team, make them to work with you as a family, that's something very important. And it's very challenging because to find like a talented people who are emotionally connected to the business, that's not something easy. You have to really to search and hire and fire until you get the right people.
Emotionally connected to the business. You mean that they just really care about the business?
That's it. They care about the business.
Like as if it's their business.
That's it. And for me, and maybe this is something, an issue with me, I don't like to have details. So when I give you like a task to do it, don't come back with me with update. Just come back with me with the outcomes. We don't have time to waste.
Yeah. So don't come. I mean, that was one thing I was always told is like, don't go to your boss with problems.
Just take me the
find
result.
a way to get over them and then go back.
I mean, to be honest, like I have one of my team member. I give her a number of chances, but she didn't get it. I mean, she I mean, whenever we have a meeting, one-to-one meeting with her, she has to tell me everything she did like during the day, from a phone call, from having a lunch break, and
No.
not for me.
Yeah, yeah. And you have a strong team now. I mean, I've met.
Yeah.
Do you have a team in for the conferences, for example?
Yeah, for the conference, as I mentioned to you, like we have a big team now working for us, and we have like for the investment. And the good thing about the investment team, I have them since 2014. So I mean, we've been together for the last 10 years. I
Okay.
mean, they know their job, I know my job, and they only come back to me with results.
Okay. Okay. And they obviously are separate to the
Yeah.
conferences.
I mean, we have team member like in Kuwait, in Dubai, working remotely. We have in Lebanon, we have in Sao Paulo, Seoul, and Milan, Italy, and Paris in France.
In Korea as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So when you're talking about overcoming the challenges, did you kind of learn by yourself, or you must have you mentioned your father, and obviously, your family, has a very prestigious legacy in Kuwait of the genesis of their business and how they grew to the point that they have a family office. But did you have mentors, or who were the people who influenced you like to become a CEO and a leader?
To be honest, I learned a lot from my grandfather and my grandmother when I was a child. I mean, they passed away when I was my teenager, but I still remember everything they were saying, their action and matters, because my grandmother, she was staying for the last of her life, I mean, at my house. So I was very...
She was living in your house.
So I was very connected with her. And my grandfather, my father, he was responsible for his inheritance. So he has to go to see him like every other day, and there was accompanying him. So I was listening since I was a child for all his actions and reaction for the situation. So I learned a lot from them, honestly.
From your grandparents, more.
And but not in the current. I mean, as of now, if you ask me who's your mentor, I will say to you, I mean, I learned from the Prophet Muhammad, because I mean, all his action and says are inspired from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I mean, to read his history and to listen in my free time or when I'm in the plane, that teach me a lot. But a physical person now, I don't have, honestly.
And that's really beautiful. And then your grandparents obviously instilled.
Yeah.
Do you mean that they instilled?
Because they are my grandmother. She was a businesswoman.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So you learned it about business from her.
Yeah, she was a tough woman.
Really?
A tough woman.
Which was pretty unusual then at the time, because that would have been.
It was very rare.
Yeah, I mean, most women didn't work then, right?
No, she was running farms.
Really?
Yeah.
And so she kind of instilled that, like, a work ethic and, values about how to run a business and in you. And that did that kind of inspire you then to think, well, I want
to... up to this moment, I still remember, I mean, what she's saying and how she reacts to situations and how she deal with it.
Really? And you feel like that's really kind of influenced your leadership and how you grew your career? Because you said that you didn't, when you lost your, you didn't have a job at that point before your dad.
I was jobless.
You were jobless, but you didn't have a plan at the beginning, of like, where am I going to be in 10 years or 20 years?
I was in Latin America, surfing, traveling, chilling.
You were in your 20s then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in 20s.
So you were just taking a year out.
Yeah.
And which is good. I think that's also can be really good at certain points in your life to do that.
Life is all about balancing. I mean, you cannot work the whole time, and we cannot have holiday the whole time. It's all about balancing. Even we were just discussing about the Chinese culture earlier. I mean, it's different from our culture because we cannot work 24 hours. We need to have our social space, leisure, person, just to be by yourself doing nothing.
Well, I remember reading something about they were sort of doing a correlation with people that had, either developed or invented remarkable things that affect, like Steve Jobs, or I can't remember, there were a few others, but all of them had, massive kind of gaps where they just went off and traveled or like did nothing really. But apparently that's super.
But I don't wait for the gaps. I create gaps for myself.
You don't. Yeah. No, because I think it kind of helps your brain to just
Definitely to
reset, and then
recharge.
you become better at when you're
Definitely,
performing in your role. Yeah.
definitely. Like I mean, between a holiday and holiday, I have another holiday for me. But I always take short holidays, and I'm the type of people. I mean, when I take a holiday, I don't switch off.
Yeah, you're
But
kind of a
yeah,
little bit.
but I tell my team, okay, like I'm in a holiday for 3 4 days, so if it's something urgent, can call me. If not,
Yeah, yeah. If
just wait.
not,
Things can wait, you know.
so you didn't, the mentors. I mean, that's really interesting about your grandmother, like especially because then, I mean, that would have been, so 2 generations. Like there
Yeah,
were very few women who were running businesses then.
and she was really tough.
Yeah, she must have been pretty tough, yeah, to do that. And so that she kind of inspired you, and her learning from her has like affected or helped you develop your own career,
Yeah.
right? And what I mean, but when you started Aliyah, you didn't have a plan. Did you, when you kind of took over the role and you decided, okay, I'm going to go in and run the family business, did you have a blueprint or anything in your head of like, this is where I'd like it to go?
Yes, I mean, before it was a very low profile group. They have very, I mean, selective business to invest in. But after, I mean, 10 years after I start to run the shows, I mean, we are expanding globally. I mean, now it become a brand name. Let's put it that way.
It has. It's become,
Yeah,
and it's all over the world.
yeah,
Obviously, with the conferences and everything, and you're connecting family offices all over the world
that's it.
through your network, and you've
Yeah.
built a community of family offices. Right? It's remarkable,
So now,
really.
even if I have any friend from the region and they want to be connected, like they just call me up, oh, Mohammed, do you know any family from Mexico or Brazil or China? I will just put them in touch.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit of, I mean, it's a hard work. Traveling, it's fun, but it's not easy.
No. Yeah.
Okay. But I gain the benefit from it.
Yeah. And what's one of the key things that you know now that you wish you'd known at the beginning of?
Value of time.
What do you mean?
I mean,
Just
I wasted a lot of time in the past. I'm not regretting because I learned from it, but I wish I learned earlier the value of time.
like, can you give me an example of like
Like
what?
utilize my time. Let me give you an example. Before, if we don't, I mean, I have no interest to invest into X country, for instance. And if someone came to Kuwait and they want to meet up with me, I would meet up with them. But for me now, that's a waste of time because I knew that I will never invest there. So
Right.
why I should waste my time and the other person's time? I was doing this mistake in the past. For instance, doing a research or something and something that not of interest to me. So why I should do it? I would just prefer just to chill at house, watching my TV series, doing nothing. Then
Wasting.
yeah,
But do you think there's value though sometimes in just meeting people and having a chat? Like sometimes you can go and meet someone and maybe it open,
maybe.
yeah.
But what's the chances?
I know it's like maybe
If it's
one in
low,
100.
yeah. If it's 50%, it's okay. But if it's 10%, 5%, there's no
then
need.
it's not really worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose especially as you, but that, do you think that could depend on the level in your career? Like when you're beginning, it's good to go out and meet lots of people, and you build a network. But then when you reach a certain point,
Yeah, but why I build the network in some areas that
it's not.
it's not related to me,
I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, I understand. And plus, if when you reach a certain point of success, you don't need to keep going out and trying to see
Yeah.
what's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and for me also, besides like just, I mean, wasting the time, also utilizing the time. I mean, I wasted a lot of time doing nothing, and I could even enjoy life.
Better.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. How do you enjoy life now? Now that you've reached a certain level of
Explore the whole world.
still traveling and
Yeah,
going.
now I reached like 75%.
Really?
Yeah, I love traveling, and for me, whenever there is opportunity, I just do it. Like for instance, next week, I have to be in Europe, but I'm spending the weekend in Lapland in Finland.
In Finland?
Yeah, just to snowmobile.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so whenever there's opportunity, just do it, And I try to explore as much country as I can. And yeah, before I get old.
before you go?
And then we are just like watching what's happening around me and instead of taking action.
Well, you've got lots of time to keep traveling before you
In
go.
my family, they always passed away from both sides after the age of 100. So
So
I haven't reached middle age yet.
yeah, that's fine. Then you've got a lot of time left to
Yeah.
explore the world. And are there countries that stick out in your mind as like your favorite places to visit?
I mean, there is no favorite. I mean, I love Latin America, so that's out of question. But when you ask me what favorite city, it's not. There is no favorite city because every city has its own charming. So I mean, I cannot compare New York to Paris to Rio de Janeiro to Kuwait, which is my home. I love my home. I will never see myself living outside Kuwait. In spite, it's a foreign country for a lot of people, but for me, it's my home.
It's
I
your
love
home.
it.
Yeah. What are you most proud of from your
Proud
time?
of?
Yeah.
I mean, just to bring Alia brand from a local family business to a global brand name, that's a big achievement, and I'm proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
To have it clean and to take the responsibility of the family legacy 100% on my shoulder, that's another thing that I'm proud of it.
Yeah. That's really
Yeah, because for me, I care about reputation more than anything because monies goes and come, but the reputation gone, you cannot bring it back.
that is I completely think that's a super important message that is lost on a lot of people these
Yeah.
days. But reputation is everything.
We're not too greedy, or I'm not too greedy, and even my family are not too greedy. For that reason, we really keep a good reputation
Mm-hmm. And your core
and
values.
satisfied. We are very satisfied with what we have. When I wake up every morning and I can walk, I thank my God, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a gift.
That is a gift. Yeah. Do you have any regrets?
I
No.
don't regret because for me, the mistake I've done in my life, like the time, utilizing the time I was mentioning to you, it's a lesson. In 2010, I got accepted by a very reputable university to study my master. And before I paid the tuition, I was thinking, which is better? I mean, to go and study academic, to spend like my 2 years in academic studies, or just be working and learning from my mistakes and the practice. Then I just decided, it was the last minute, I said, no, I will not go to study my master, I will just work. There is nothing, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong about studying, to have the postgraduate studies, but for me, I have just different view, that's all. Newton, when he knew about the gravity, he didn't go to university. He was sitting under the tree.
Yeah. I mean, work experience, like doing it in real life is.
And if you ask most of the successful people, if you want to hire someone who has experience or someone who has a qualification, they will ask you, they will say, definitely for the experienced person.
Yeah, of course, because they've done it
Yeah.
and they've proved themselves. Yeah, I completely, you can see that even a lot of people, that graduate from, and then when they go into the role, they struggle to actually do it because it's,
That's the story of the startup. They have great idea, but they're not business minded, so they don't know how to run the business. But they don't have the experience. They are a creator.
but not running. Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. How do you ensure Alia remains adaptable and kind of dynamic in the world today? It's the business landscapes are changing. I mean, the last few years we've had COVID, all sorts of, then a kind of, in this region anyway, a boom in the region with a lot of growth. How as you're leading it through all the changes in the business landscapes, what is your kind of how do you do that? How do you stay ahead?
As you know, we have the conferences, and the conferences we meet a lot of like family offices from different regions. So we are exchanging experiences and knowledge, and that keep us up to date from the people who are running the economy, not from the media, which they want to show you what they believe, and that keep us up to date and adaptive to any changes.
And it's one thing I'd like to ask is, is family offices, I mean, it's kind of a niche world, right? And are there big differences between the kind of landscape of family offices in the Middle East or Africa or Latin America?
Yeah.
What are the kind of differences between them?
The culture.
So
They're a different culture.
and what's kind of the thing that stands out the most? Or some more closed off, or some more open, or how does it work?
I mean, people in the Western world, when I say Western world, maybe I mean the US and Europe, they are more open. And for them, it's more business than a family when it comes to the family office. But
In the US.
in the US and the Europe, and this is my personal opinion.
Of course, yeah.
But when it comes to Latin America and the Middle East, is more family oriented. So the family member, they feel more attached and responsible toward their family office, and they have to work there after graduation to join the family force. Africa, it's a frontier market. It's still like the family office concept is not happening in the correct way, so they need time to structure it. Okay. Asia, I think they are more similar to the Middle East, but still they have the business mind. So for them, at the end of the day, it's like an investment firm more than a family office.
And what are some of the most popular kind of topics at the family office events? Is it sort of that people want to understand? Is it legacy? Is it succession planning? Is it?
We try our best to diversify according to what's happening in the market. Let me give you an example. Nowadays, when we conduct like the Middle East event, we always talk about Saudi Arabia because it's a big topic with all the changes and developments happening. So we cannot skip this point, but we don't repeat the things about succession planning, the legacy, because this is a repeated topic. I know there's some development, but we only do it if there is a need for it. Like for instance, for Africa, as I mentioned to you earlier, still like the family office concept, still like it's at early stage, so they need to learn about it, and it will be a good opportunity at the event to bring experts to talk about the legacy and the succession planning. LATAM is similar to the Middle East. I mean, there's a lot of things happening when it comes to the political level. Argentina, the new regime, Ecuador, Colombia, Mexico. So they want to talk about the geopolitics more than just succession planning and...
Because that could affect their business. And their family businesses.
Big time.
And what about family businesses that sort of then become listed, go to list part of their business and then keep their family office? Is that something that happens a lot?
Yeah, and that even we experienced that in Kuwait. I mean, it's their own decision. We cannot interfere. I mean, for us, that's not in our agenda because first of all, we are a boutique family office. We are not a huge family office. Secondly, I mean, we need to keep it. We need to keep our culture. If we just go listed, just listed company.
And what you mentioned that Latin America and Mexico in particular is a very exciting place right now, in the sense of there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of things happening. What are there other kind of regions or countries on the radar, you know, from a family office perspective that you think? I mean, Africa is obviously
for us, or for us. I mean, Africa. We've done business in Africa between 2009 to 2011 in the gold business. We did a good money in the gold trading, but I don't think we will repeat the experience in the coming few years, because in Africa, if you want to do business, you have to dedicate a lot of time, and we cannot afford that now.
You have to go through
we have to dedicate a lot of time there to do business.
You have to spend a lot of time face to face and be there.
And at this time, we cannot afford that. Colombia is a booming market. Brazil with the new president Lula, that's a good. There's a lot of new opportunity happening. Asia, we don't. It's not under our radar now. The region itself, Kuwait, with the new emir, I think there's a lot of opportunity. And here, where we are, even now, we have a project in Kuwait for food recycling,
which is a big thing in the region right now.
We call it Alia Earth. We are doing like a food recycling that generates power for a vertical farming facility. So we'll take the food waste to produce food.
So you take the food waste to produce food?
Food, yeah.
And how does that work?
Yeah, we'll take the food waste, recycle it into energy to power a vertical farming facility that generates food.
So the vertical farming where they grow
the leaves, the greenery,
And is that in supermarkets or at plants?
No, no,
Because
it's
some
off
of
plant. No, it's a
it's
plant.
a
Yeah,
plant.
yeah, yeah.
Because there's some vertical farming as well being
Yeah,
introduced
no, but
into
that's a
supermarkets.
larger scale.
That's a larger scale.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're looking for like 400,000 kilogram production annually.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, and the food recycling plant will take 150 ton a day of food waste.
That's in Kuwait.
Yeah.
In Kuwait. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really so that's a new initiative that
that's
you
new
guys
initiative,
have done. And are there any books or movies that have had a profound impact on your life?
I mentioned to you earlier, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like he's for me a good mentor. Like, I mean, his life, it's a big thing for me.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you do Umrah
Yeah,
regularly? You go to Umrah a lot?
yeah.
You do Umrah every year? No, just wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Umrah, like, I mean, I do Umrah and Hajj every year.
Really?
Hajj since 2002, except the 2 years of the COVID,
When it was closed.
2020 and 21. So since 2022, yeah, I've been doing Umrah every year. Sorry, Hajj every year, and Umrah during like the last week of Ramadan. I always go there.
The last week of
Yeah.
you do Umrah.
I will tell you something very interesting. I have friends from Saudi Arabia and UAE. We don't plan it. We always meet there at the same time. I'm not joking.
By accident?
Yeah, no, not. I mean, we knew that we were going there. I knew
But
them.
you always see
Yeah, I
them.
knew them from the mosque, from the haram, and like we become good friends. I mean, I mean, lately we have a group chat on WhatsApp. But I mean, we don't say, oh, when you are going, we always go and meet there in the same spot.
Just by coincidence.
By the same spot, we know we always pray at the same
That's
spot.
amazing.
Yeah.
And have you noticed, I mean, the huge increase in, pilgrims going as well to the kingdom, right,
Yeah.
in the last few years? It's a lot more.
A lot more. But we know our ways.
Yeah, that must be incredible. What's the next phase? I mean, you seem to have like kind of brought it to this incredible point now. What's next?
What next? We want to go into new businesses. So now we are going even into the entertainment business. This is the plan.
Oh,
Yes. And also like to be in different countries just to expand the brand name of Alia.
and entertainment in like movies or music or...
We'll start with movies, and then but we have our own agenda, and we are partnering with the film producer of The Irishman. His name is Gaston. He's Mexican American.
Oh,
With his company, it's called Fabrica. It's already in the business for the last 14 years. And yeah, you will hear a lot about it like in the coming few months.
that's very exciting.
Yeah.
And will that be entertainment produced for this region?
You will hear about it.
Okay,
I don't
I'm really
want to-
excited
yeah.
to hear about that because that's
But we have our own agenda because, lately, like most of the producers, they have, especially from the US, they have their own agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to enforce our own agenda in that.
to create that content. Okay, because there's a lot of movies being shot here and now in the
Yeah.
region, and all sorts of kind of grants for.
Yeah, we're already in discussion with some parties here in UAE, in Qatar, and Saudi Arabia for that.
That's amazing. I mean, because they had recently the big festival in Saudi,
Yeah.
the film festival, and I mean everybody from the entertainment business was there. It was insane. It was incredible.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. So that's the next stage then. Well, I'd like to thank you really sincerely, Mohammed, for coming and sharing.
No, thank you
your
for
thoughts
receiving
today.
me. It was a really pleasure to have a conversation with you.
Because I know you don't often do interviews, so it's a real pleasure, and we really appreciate your time and wish you the best for the
Thank
next
you, and
phase.
hope to see you very soon.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mohammed. Thank you.